Now we come on to the story of the evening, the Bronte Bus Company. And I believe that's a comma, is that right, Peter?
Oh, yes, well, yes, I'm one of the family of the Bronte Bus Company. This is one of the first commas we got in the early 30s, which didn't have front wheel brakes. And this is a picture near Haworth Cemetery of a comma invader on the left, a little comma in the middle, 14-seat, and a Chevrolet with my father on the left and my grandfather with his Tilby on the right-hand side. The middle little comma was very good. This is a photograph of the old garage we had in Sun Street, which was formerly a public house stables. And this is a photograph of the comma invader we had with my father knelt at the front and my mother on the back row on the left-hand side. They'd obviously gone on a day trip somewhere. It could have been at Southport, I don't know really. Could have been at Southport, but they're all dressed in the period, as you see. This is a picture of two Bedfords we had. Left hand was a new Bedford utility we got when they were released for public service, civilian service, and the other is a Mulliner, which we got. That was after the war, I think. But during the war, we could have, by permit, you could have these Bedford utilities. This is another shot of the comma taken on an excursion somewhere. I don't know where it is actually, but
it's interesting to see the style of dress that they all wear.
Oh, it is. Yes, this is this is the first Bedford we had, probably in 1932, I think it was. Bedford's coming out in 31. This was a 20-seater built at Burlingham's. It had. This is a shot of a charabanc, but it's not one that we didn't have any early charabancs. It's one of the local groups going on an excursion somewhere. My father did drive a charabanc for some people in Haworth who had the pride of the valley. This is a photograph of a timetable which we operated, and you'll see that there's quite a frequent service to Haworth and Stanbury, and also we ran Haworth Laneshire Bridge over past the herders. This was suspended during the wartime because of conditions as there were. This is a selection of the tickets we used, to and threepence return. That would be to Laneshire Bridge and back. This is a little comma which we went on holiday to. Eventually we got to Torquay on this holiday. The men stayed in the tent on the right, and the ladies slept in the bus. After we'd been on tour, we put the seats back and ran it on the service again. This is an early Model T Ford at Haworth railway station. It had a jumbo gearbox and an operated back axle, which we ran on the service to Stanbury. It was pretty tough going up the main street with this. My father said you could see the exhaust almost glowing. This is a Bedford Mulliner down at Haworth station on the service, which we had converted to a Perkins. The engine was really a bit too strong for the chassis because with trouble with clutches, gearboxes and back axle pinions. This is a little Albion we got before the war in 36. It's a body by Sainsbury Aircraft Company near Blackburn. It was a 29-seater Albion Victor, this, and it was commandeered by the army during the war. We never saw it again until the war finished, which we repurchased it. This is a picture of a little Bedford. I think it's Barley Omnibus coming up out of Barley for Nelson. They used to operate out of Barley with a service. And this is outside the old garage in Sun Street. We're just washing a Bedford OB, which again has a Perkins, but it had operated engine mountings. I remember it was a better mounted engine than the first Perkins. This is a Maudsley Marathon Mark II petrol, which we got new in '47 with a Plaxton body, and it was a beautiful little engine, petrol, which it used to consume 7.5 miles to the gallon with a 40-gallon petrol tank. So today it would be quite pricey to fill up. Later we converted it in our own premises to this full front, and I fitted a AC 77 engine into it. It doesn't look too bad for a homemade job, I don't think, really. The windscreens were made by LB Windscreens in Leeds. I don't know if they're still going or not. And the front bumper was a comma, which I straightened, and we fitted that. This is my uncle on the right, who drove for us at the Cup final in 1947. He'd gone down with a little Betford and a party to the Cup final. Here we have a Thames Trader, and I'm there taking a party to Scotland, youth hostling. That was, I think it's on Loch Earn, that youth hostel, where we stayed. And there we have a Betford PCP, which was a very good machine, and on the left is the Fort Trader. The PCP had a 2-speed back axle. I think they were the forerunners of more gears in the gearbox. Later we had 5-speed boxes, which were better really than 2-speed axles, because it all depended on the driver's skill in changing the gears. This is a Harrington Leyland 400, which I think it came from East Yorkshire event originally. This is an AC 9.6, which we got new in 1949. It was built by Barnaby's of Hull. They were bodybuilders in Hull. I think don't think they're going now, but that was a marvellous machine, really. AC, flat out, 52 miles an hour. This is a little Betford Burlingham. It's a converted chassis from the utility chassis, made into forward control. It was a 24-seater body. It's outside Keighley post office, which was in those days. That's another shot of the Fort Trader. We did have trouble with the Fort Trader because the liners used to leak water eventually with electrolysis. They said it was electrolysis working on the liners. This is a little Bedford we got in '38. It had cable brakes, still operated on cable brakes, but it had the uprated 28 horsepower engine, which was a big improvement on the old 27 horse, having it had shell bearings instead of metal rods. That's it. When it's end of its day, it was conveying workers to a mill in Bradford. It was bought by some people, bought by the mill, and it used to take the people to work in Bradford. And now it's looking a little bit worse for wear there. That's a bus my father once bought from Old Bill Motors in Skipton. There it used to run from Skipton station up to Skipton, and I think they also ran on to MC. My father's on the right hand side. This is a Bedford Burlingham we got in 1959 new. It was all fiberglass. It was quite an innovation in those days for bodybuilding, and all the panelling and everything was fiberglass. It was one of the first Betford's 300 engines. This is a photograph of the early Betford we bought, the 20-seater. Burlingham's built the body, and it wouldn't pass because the 3 seats near the back seat, they wouldn't pass it for that, so it had to be cut short and turned round. This is a party before the war. My uncle's driving, and they're going on an outing somewhere. I know my aunt's in the front row, they're all dressed in that type of costume which people used to wear in those days. Most of the men had hats in those days. This is a little Fiat my father once had, rather too much overhang at the back, because on occasions it had tipped up. People coming up a steep hill, if the driver jerked it, changing gear, passengers flew to the back and it tipped up. This is one of the very first buses we ran, a Ford Model T, and the body could be taken off and converted into a lorry again. There was bench seats down the sides and a bicycle light inside for illumination. This is again the early Ford Model T, which we ran in the 20s, having started running the buses in 1926, and we ran those until 1956, when television came in and ruined everything. And this is me on the right. Two of the chaps are washing Betford OB Perkins outside our old premises in Sun Street, Haworth. It's I don't think you do that today, because we used to back out and listen for traffic, and you had to back out across the road. This is a Betford 27 horse which we got. I don't know where it came from. One of the drivers with it outside the garage. The 27 horse engine were all right. That's a Trans-United Bedford we had at one time. I don't know who the party is. This is a Leyland Comet, which we once had, which didn't turn out to be too good. It was rather an experimental type of chassis, a 36-seater duple body, quite a nice body, but it was rather prone to gaskets. This is a photograph again of the little Albion we used to have, and we had that Albion for 19 years from it doing military service, and then after the war we purchased it back, and it went to Albion's to have the chassis seen to, and they put a new axle on it. They said it was bent, and Duples renovated the chassis, the bodywork, and upholstered all the seats. This is an AC Regent Mark V, which we got to cater for the school children. There was too many children for a single decker on that route. This is an AC Reliance, which we once had, AC Reliance 500, which had belonged to Allens of Edinburgh, I believe, once over. That's in the quarry where we moved to eventually. This is a picture outside Perkins' factory when I took a party from Keighley to visit Perkins for the day. A lot of prominent businessmen from Keighley. Perhaps know Kit Metcalf on the right at the back. He had a haulage company. Over to you, Maurice.
Well, thank you very much for those memories of a local bus company which was very, very famous in the day. I can remember seeing them at Blackpool Illuminations. A splendid talk, Peter. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you.